Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Vitality Prescription. I hope you guys are doing amazing. I'm having a fabulous week. I'm with my friend Alyssa Hawn. Hello, Alyssa. Thanks for joining
Hello.
me.
So happy to be here.
Me too. So Alyssa Hawn is actually one of my best girlfriends from college, and I had all my amazing college memories with her. And more than that, she's a kind and loving human design reader, holistic health coach, and intuitive energy healer, guiding people with personalized strategies to align with their highest, most authentic, healthiest selves. She specializes in deconditioning work and helps people to replace their limiting beliefs with some more positive, empowering beliefs. Alyssa is a certified human design reader through De Luna, a company that simplifies human design and empowers individuals towards self love, personal freedom, and radical authenticity. In 2023, she was selected by De Luna to be one of their executive recommended readers, and she has given readings and workshops for individuals and groups all over the globe, including the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So, for those of you who are familiar with human design and/or astrology, Alyssa is a 3-5 emotional manifesting generator, Cancer Sun, Libra Moon, Virgo Rising. And she's also mom of two children and based in Farmington, Connecticut. And she honestly is one of the best people with people. This girl in college, her first volunteer job she volunteered a place in college called A Place to Talk. She's one of those people that when you speak with her, she just sees you, she gets you. And she's honestly done my reading for human design and taught me so much about myself, not just in my life, but in also business. So I'm so excited you're on the show. Thank you so much, Alyssa.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. That's so nice. I really appreciate that. And you know what? You have the same effect on people. So something that's really cool about my energy and your energy is we're kind of like mirrors of each other. We have a lot of similarities in our design. So
Yes.
yeah.
And, for those who are not or don't know much about human design, I'll definitely be linking at the end of the episode in the show notes info to work with Alyssa. And if you don't know anything, this is a perfect episode for you to get to know it because I think when people understand human design, they really understand, honestly, the big picture about themselves. And when you kind of have that blueprint, things make sense. So, Alyssa, I thought it'd be good if we just kind of start about how you got into human design because your life is taking through so many paths. And so for you, someone as smart and amazing as you to wind up here says a lot about human design already. And also just what human design is and everything. Yeah, you think new people to this should know.
Yeah, so I guess it's good to start with what human design is. Human design is the science of differentiation. It operates on the premise that all of our energies are different. The way I show up in the world is different than the way you show up in the world, Yasmine. It's different in the way our kids show up in the world. But what happens is we're conditioned to believe that, doing things one way is the best way for our
Yeah.
energy. And that's not true. We are all different. There are over 2 billion different combinations of human designs, which means that there are over 2 billion ways of operating in the world, right? And when we know how we are uniquely designed to function, that's when everything changes. And so human design is cool because it incorporates many different modalities. So it incorporates astrology, the Chinese I Ching, the Hindu chakra system, Kabbalah tree of life. All of these modalities together give you this unique body graph chart or this picture of how your energy works. And so I am a human design reader. I can read these charts and tell people how they're designed to make decisions, how their intuition works, what their unique gifts and strengths are. All of this is in the human design chart. And so I found human design about 4 years ago. Somebody recommended that I look at it to help my son, right? Because I was really feeling disconnected from him. I did not understand how his energy worked. And I looked at the chart and I'm like, this is gibberish. Like, I don't know how this is going to help me. This is a bunch of numbers and symbols, right? And then I looked at it from like my design, right? I looked up my design. And the
Mm.
more I dove into what my design meant, I was like, holy shit. I mean, I don't know if I can say that. I was like,
Oh, absolutely. That's allowed on this podcast.
okay.
Absolutely.
I was like, oh my God. Because here's the thing. When I found human design, I was 31. At that point, I was getting ready to have my second divorce. I was facing the worst chronic health conditions like of my life. I was in so much pain. I thought I was going to die. I thought I would rather kill myself than live a life this bad.
Mm.
I was working in a job that I hated, and human design just like made me realize I was using my energy completely wrong, like wrong for me. I was trying to fit myself into a box that was somebody else's. I was trying to people please, right? And it was at a huge disservice to myself in my
Yeah.
energy. And so one of those things in my energy is I'm a manifesting generator, which is a type that's designed to try all the things, right? And to have change constantly, not pigeonhole my energy into one thing, but to many things. And that resonated so much for me because I was trying to be a stay-at-home mom full time. And I was like, this does not work for me. But
Mhm.
everybody else in my life wanted it to work for me. I wanted it to work for me because that's what I thought I was supposed to be. I thought I was supposed to be this loving stay-at-home mom, right?
Yeah.
And then looking at my design, I'm like, actually, no, there are
Yeah.
so many things that I'm supposed to be doing with my energy. Like public speaking, for example, is one of my gifts. Right.
Yes.
I have an same, so I have another gift. It's called the channel of mutation. And this is all about helping other people transcend their limitations through things
I
like
agree with
coaching.
that. That's for sure.
Yasmine, you have that channel too. Like we both have that channel. We're both here to really see others, and where others feel stuck, we help them get past that feeling of stuckness and into this feeling of transcendence, of there are possibilities for me out there.
Oh, that's like it's amazing once you understand kind of your yeah, your blueprint basically, what you're meant to do and how to make decisions. It's really illuminating. It's really the best. It's really changed a lot for me. So I'm so thankful because I never would have heard about it. Well, I probably would have maybe down the line because it's taking the world by storm.
It
Everyone's,
is.
it's like very much I think everyone's going to be like our kids, they'll all have it before college, guarantee it. Like, I think that's definitely where it's going. But for now, but when I first heard about it, it was definitely from you. I definitely didn't hear about it before because I'm in my little, like, traditional medicine bubble. So we don't really, talk about anything besides what they allow us to learn. So but I think if everyone had this, they'd be much healthier. I think in healthcare,
Mhm.
this is like not just business, not just like, work life, home life. I think in your health, it's like pivotal to know
Oh
your human
yeah.
design.
And I can
Pivotal.
I can testify to this. Like I had my own blood sugar issues, right? Like
Yeah.
I had a sugar addiction. I had
Yeah,
interstitial cystitis, which is a condition where you basically feel like you have to pee every 5 minutes. Like, and I don't have that anymore. Like
I
I can,
remember that. So Alyssa and I used to road trip, back from we were in college at Hopkins together and we'd go to New Jersey. And Alyssa, God bless Alyssa, she was drinking water in the car and we would have to stop so many times to
yeah.
pee. And again, right? Because we're conditioned to think that everyone's the same. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, you know what I mean? We shouldn't have to pee this much, right? But little did we know. Yeah.
Oh, and I was conditioned to believe I had this tiny little bladder too, right?
Yeah. I
Everybody
just
would
thought you
say,
had a tiny bladder.
yeah,
Yeah.
you just have tiny bladder syndrome. When really, no, I was actually very unhealthy. I was not getting the nutrition that I needed. I had a
Yeah.
lot of fear that I was hanging on to, and that's another thing in my human design. I am of a type that, or I have a, how do I say this? I have a center where I absorb and like amplify other people's fear energy. So
Yeah.
with things that other people fear in their body, I can feel it. And now it's part of what makes me a great practitioner because if somebody walks into my office, sits down, or if I'm doing a Zoom session, right, I
Mhm.
can I can feel the
Yeah.
fear energy. Sometimes before they even walk into my office.
I believe it. I believe it. It's like, and you're always very in tune with people's energy and understanding when they weren't, feeling like themselves, and that's a really beautiful gift. Also difficult though at some times. So it's really helpful to know that about yourself.
Right. I think for many empaths, they think it's like a bad thing, right? It's difficult to be an empath. You're absorbing everybody else's emotions. Like you, Yasmin, you're an empath as well, right? But when we learn how to use our empathy as a superpower, right? And we're able to discern what is my energy and what is somebody else's energy,
Yeah,
that's when,
absolutely.
yeah, that's when you can function so much better.
I was thinking this would be a good time before we like, really dive in, so people have the big perspective about the different types of
Yeah.
minutes. Yeah, yeah, maybe tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the energy types in human design is it's how your energy affects others essentially, and there are 5 types, and this is what everybody like learns first in human design, and it's arguably the most important thing you learn. So there are 5 types. Yasmin's is the most common type. These are generators in human design, and their sacred purpose is to do what they love. So they have a defined sacral center, which gives them this energy to do boundless things as long as they're loving what they're doing. So Yasmin, when we had our session, you're a doctor, you're amazing. You love what you do, you love helping people get their hormones in balance, right? But it was in this situation where you're seeing a new patient every 15 minutes, right? You're not getting the time with them. And so what happens to your sacral and to your energy is that you start to burn out. You start to get tired, right?
Definitely. It's like because the other thing, yeah, you were teaching me about it is that, when I'm doing something I really enjoy, I want to finish it to completion. I don't just bounce around. I want to
Mhm.
do it and I want to do it extremely well. And then I get
Yeah.
instant satisfaction. So for especially for diabetes, right, where you really can see the numbers improving and then seeing how they're feeling so quickly the process. So when I have to do these short sessions and I can't really just fix the entire problem, it definitely was defeating for me. I wanted to like completely empty my I feel best when I completely empty the gas tank, completely finish a job, and then start anew, the next. And that's definitely what helped me pivot to coaching online for sure. And not only
Yeah.
that, but even how I worked with my own health. So obviously, as a doctor, I have certain things like I know certain goals or something I want to hit, but now I focus definitely way more on even like with exercise, like just doing something I enjoy every day with my workouts and focusing that way has made me so much healthier than trying to do certain things or certain workouts that like really didn't make me feel good. Definitely those kind of things. Like once I learned, it was back in March we did our session. And from there, it took off. Everything made way more sense for me once I understood that I wasn't the type who's supposed to jump around everywhere and do everything. It's okay to be in one place and like just enjoy and be present in what I'm doing and do it
Mhm.
very well and the best I can. And when I understood that, especially when I was trying to start, online coaching in this, I was trying to do all the things. And now I'm like, no, 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 I'm outsourcing immediately to things that
Yeah.
don't serve me. No way. And the minute I feel the inkling of, I'm out, I'm out, I'm out, I'm out. And if I feel good about something, I'm all in. I don't spend that time I used to process like what's going to be in the future, this or that. I'm like, no, 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 no. If I want it, I'm getting it. Done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Generators are really here to operate in the present too. Like, what do I want? Do I want this? Do I not want this? If I don't want this, no. Just
Yeah.
like you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So much
generators too,
easier.
they're here to be masters at what they do. And so how can you really master something if you're only spending 15 minutes
No,
with a
you
patient,
can't.
right? Like you
Yes.
can't. Like you're this program that you're offering, I'm so excited about it because you're going in depth. You're walking them through the step-by-step process, which is
Yes.
so in alignment with generator energy.
It is. It allows me to like really with my especially, our diabetes program, our transformation program, we don't just do lifestyle or give, it's the, standard medical advice. We're doing everything, toxicities, everything, really reversing everything from the root cause,
Mhm.
looking at everything as a whole. And when you're able to do something like that, it's very satisfying. And that's my favorite feeling is satisfying. I don't like frustration.
Exactly. Yes.
And I try to give the same to my clients. That's it. Satisfaction, no frustration, no headaches coming from me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, exactly. Being a generator, if you're in alignment, it's that feeling of satisfaction. If you're feeling out of alignment, like it's something's not right, frustration is really the telltale sign it's time to do something different.
Oh, yeah, totally, totally. That
Yeah.
it's been so helpful because now I don't, like, try to I used to have, like, resistance. I would, like, force like, when I was frustrated, being like, "What am I doing wrong, or what do I need to do?" It's like, "No, no, no, this isn't for me. I need to move this and figure this out. That's it." It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like a
It's also generators experience frustration when they're operating from like the future, like too far down the line, right? If you're trying to
oh, yeah.
figure out how you're going to be a massive global success, like right
No.
now, like no, step by step.
Yep,
What
I
is
live in my
in
day, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Now I
like
do. I used to not. I used to be like, "I don't know how that's gonna be in a year from now." I don't even think that way anymore, and
yeah.
that's great because I don't know, I think I used to think about especially when you have kids, we're forced to, like, think, "Oh, at school, this or that, or what they're gonna" I don't think about it. They're great, they're wonderful, and once they understand themselves, they'll be fine wherever they go. I'm not worried about this
Yes.
stuff. I'm not. I really did. I used to, like, be looking up, like, things that just didn't matter, like and now I'm definitely living definitely more authentically, and it's definitely affected my health in a very positive way and how I coach in a very positive way, for sure. And I think if anyone owns a business on here, I think you should pay for your staff to get their reading. I think it would make it so much easier to hire people for the job you really want them to do, and I think it would make it much easier to work with them and understand them, for sure. It's something I'm like a totally different way of looking at it. When you're designing a business, most people ask the standard of questions, and it's just not how. And then they wonder why they're disappointed, right, when they don't have the people they
Yeah.
need. Yeah,
So I got to tell you, when I started my business, I had two business coaches because I was like, what do I do? Right. And
yeah,
they would tell me all these things I had to do in my gut. I'm a manifesting generator so I also resonate with like the gut feelings. I'm a generator type and I was just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And a lot of things they were telling me what to do were not in alignment with my
yeah,
energy
yeah.
whatsoever.
That's very important, like, and I didn't know that
Yeah.
could really affect your health, not just mental health, but your physical health so much.
Totally. Yes. So
Yeah.
think about like if you are doing, say, a job that you really don't like, right?
Yes.
Your sacral energy, this is where you're as a generator type, it's like you and me, we have this life force energy. If we're doing something we hate, we will not be as vibrant. We'll
Mm-mm.
likely even start experiencing problems in our reproductive organs and our
Yeah.
gut health where the sacral is. Yeah. So you have no idea how many people come to me with gut health and GI issues, right? And they hate their jobs.
All the time. It's like,
Yeah.
I remember it was our freshman year of college. I was, interning at, Merrill Lynch, before Bank of America took over there. And then, I didn't have my period for 3 months. And I thought to
Yeah.
myself, like, what is going on here? Like, and the minute that internship ended, I got my period immediately.
I
It's
forgot about that. That's
Remember? And then now that I
yeah.
know human design, it's like I'm looking back through the past 10 years of my life, and maybe more than that for whatever I can remember of it, right? And I'm like literally thinking to myself, that makes so much sense now. It just all like clicks. Anyways, okay, so we have generator, and then tell me about the rest. So big picture.
Yeah. Yeah. So manifesting generators are similar to generators. They're here to do what they love, but they're less step by step and they're more like taking the express highway. They're bypassing, making shortcuts. They're more jack of all trades, like to get their hands in everything. So for
Yeah.
me, I'm not just doing human design readings, I'm doing theta healing energy clearings. I do health coaching. I also work for the Transformation Network, which is a podcasting company. Like I'm doing it. I'm a mother, right?
Yes.
And I'm like a super manifesting generator because I have so much energy just around diversity and change and loving that. So
Yes.
like I've embraced it, right? And it's for me it's great because I'm like I get to use all my skills and build all my skills in these different ways.
I love it. And I think also,
Yeah.
like you were saying, it really is something where because you have your sacrum and then also that connection to your throat, you can really like accelerate anything very quickly, which is
Yes.
really cool. Like you don't have to be afraid of like zooming up the ladder fast.
Yeah, I think generators have that capability too. It's just it's for you guys, you're more relational. Like you guys really are designed to be in relationship with other people. That's where you shine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's yeah, generators, I like to call them the golden retrievers of human design because their auras are so open and warm, enveloping, and manifesting generators are too. But I think generators, I grew up being wondering like, why can I not be more like warm and cozy and just connect with people as quickly as Yasmine does? And it's just like that's not my design. That's your design.
That's my design. I didn't know that either. I didn't even
Yeah.
realize that. It's like, well, I'll let you talk about the other ones and then I'll get back into it because so yes, we have our generators and manifesting generators. But what I was gonna say is it's so true though. Like I used to realize like whenever I needed someone or needed something, I felt like I used to think I have to search for something, but it would just come, like little
Mhm.
things. And instead of wasting energy on looking for stuff, let it just come and put if I have to put energy somewhere else, I can do it. I don't need to worry about that. It's gonna come.
And that's the
Yeah,
cool thing about being a generator or a manifesting generator. You're here to respond to the universe. You're here to
totally.
wait for the opportunity or the person or whatever it is to come in
Yeah.
front of you and then decide with your gut, is this for me
Yeah,
or is
absolutely,
it not?
absolutely.
Right? But then there are three other types in human design where they do not have those consistent gut feelings. They have what's called an open sacral center. So they don't have consistent access to this life force energy that generator types do. And as a result, they are conditioned to believe that, they need to work really hard if they want to succeed and they will burn themselves out. And so
Yeah,
I work with a lot of projectors and health coaching because they come to me at age 40 years old and they're like, I'm burnt out. I'm done.
yep,
I don't know what's going on.
yep,
Right.
yep, all
Like,
the time.
yeah.
And it's true. We're definitely conditioned, especially in America. Like, I think other countries, their culture is different than ours, but ours is like because unfortunately everything's very expensive, but also we're raised to like think we have to go, 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 and everyone should be going the same length and studying the same amount or working the same
Yeah.
amount. And it's very interesting where that comes from. Yeah, but it's wrong. It's wrong.
Yeah.
Not everyone's supposed to work the same amount of hours or do the same amount of things. It just doesn't make
Right.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much comparison in our culture, right? Like people
Oh
might
yeah.
look at me like I'm like a Tasmanian devil. I have a like we have in a human design there's something called motor setters where you like get the energy to do things, and I have 3 out of 4
Wow.
defined. So I have more. I think you have 2. You have 2 out of 4.
Too. I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah. So and the sacral is really the mama motor. But so I have a lot of energy to like get things done. And I remember even being in high school on my tennis team and being like, why don't the other girls, why can't they do as much as I do? And thinking I was superior in some way. Right.
Totally.
But no, that's not it at all. Like, no one is more superior than anybody else. We're just different. And they were conditioned, maybe that they had to do more than what they were capable of with their energy.
100%. And I think that's a great point too for relationships. I think a lot of people get disappointed in
Mm,
relationships when someone's not maybe like up to par or they feel like they have to catch up. And either way, whichever way you're looking at it, it's like setting yourself up for disappointment and feeling
yeah,
unfulfilled for sure. And I think that's why people are so unkind in a way a lot of times in the world too, because I think if our kids understood not everyone's the same, not everyone has the same energy, then they would put less expectations on themselves. They'd be happier, less mental health issues, and also they would be nicer to others, you
totally.
know? And if
So
everyone was nicer, the world would be a much better place, right? Yeah.
yeah, so I gotta tell a story. Yasmine knows my first husband, right? I've been married twice. And I looked up his human design just out of curiosity and found he was a projector. And
I
projectors have
believe
that
it.
open sacral, no motor to throat. And I used to look at him and be like, what is his problem? He is so lazy. Like, like I would get up at 5 a.m. and I'd start making bread. And, he would like sleep in until 9. He'd go play his cello for a little while. But I'm like, but his genius was not in how much like he produced. His
Mhm.
genius was like he is here to be a guide for other people, and that's what a projector is. Projectors are here to guide other people's energy. They see things that other people don't, and they can make those necessary tweaks to help people move forward.
And they're open-minded too, right? I mean, I
Not
don't know, or is that the
some
other I
are.
think I'm mixing them up.
What makes a projector is they have that open sacral and no motor to the throat. Projectors often feel like it's very difficult to be heard.
Yeah.
They really want recognition. That's like
Mhm.
the most important thing for them is to have recognition, and their strategy is to wait for the invitation. So
Mhm.
projectors will offer a lot of advice usually because they can truly see when something needs to be altered. But if
Yeah.
that advice is not invited or wanted, it can be really repelling. So
Mm.
I have this experience with projectors where they're like, I had good intentions, right? Like, why aren't they taking my advice? Like, I know this works,
Right.
and they
Right.
need to be invited. But then in the process, as they're not invited, as they're rejected, maybe they start to form beliefs about themselves that are unhealthy.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, got it. Oh, that's a tough one. So yeah, what would be your advice for our fellow projectors out there? And I'll definitely put a link,
Yeah,
definitely for those who are just kind of want to glance and just kind of see what type you are. There's like a quiz online. I'll make sure Alyssa likes that one. I was looking up one just to see
sure.
so they could see it, and then you'll have Alyssa's. You're gonna need help to read it. There's no doubt about it. But if you're
Yeah.
curious to see what you are, I'll definitely put that in the show notes because I think if someone knew that about themselves and they aren't really feeling the best or feeling healthy or happy, it may not. I know I have a lot of more diabetes viewers here. It may not just be your diabetes. Maybe the whole thing's kind of off, with something else. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think
Oh, that's tough.
there's a huge tie to blood sugar and energy, right? And this system's all
100%.
about helping you navigate your energy. So what can projectors do to, make their lives easier? Wait for the invitation is one of them.
Mhm.
Make sure that you're actually invited to share your advice before giving it, and just biting your tongue and waiting. And the other thing you can do is build your lighthouse, right? Focus on yourself. What can you do to make yourself feel good? Maybe that's resting. Maybe that's studying something that really interests you, for
Yeah.
example. And then sharing your authentic voice. You can do
Yeah.
this without an invitation on social media, for example.
Right. Right.
So, sharing yourself authentically is a great way to get invitations. but also rest. Projectors need a lot of rest. And so sometimes projectors will guilt trip. Oh my gosh, I just spent 3 hours in front of the TV. But that might be great for your energy. Like that is often really nourishing to projectors.
Yes, yes. It's actually funny. I know I'm signing Will up for a reading with you because I think he really is that kind of person. He does feel better after he watches TV. Like, and I'm one of those people. I'm like, no, 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 no. Like,
Me too.
it doesn't make me feel good. I need to fully empty my energy out before I sleep to feel better. For
Yeah.
sure.
I
Yeah,
love doing relationship readings because it's like it's wonderful to learn where you're going to likely experience compromise in relationship, but
yeah,
also like what really strengthens the relationship. What is the energy you can lean into to become even more close and intimate with each other?
yeah. For sure, for sure. So that's projector, and then we have two more.
Yeah, two more. We have manifestors. So manifestors do not have a defined sacral, just like projectors, but they do have a motor to the throat. So they're more easily heard by others. And
Mm,
they're about 7% of the population. They're the only type in human design that can like initiate on whatever idea they have. So they have these urges that happen. And when they have the urge to create, that means it's time to initiate and create.
got
And
it.
so, yeah, manifestors are the way their energy works. It's like a spark that lights the fire. They have the idea, and then they're good to allow other people to run with that idea. So, for example, I've been working with a manifestor who wants to start a coffee shop, right? I told her, yeah, start it, but don't feel like you have to be behind the counter for 8 hours a day. You also need your rest, right? Maybe hire, a college girl and let her be creative with the drinks,
Yeah,
for example.
absolutely.
Let other people build upon your idea, right? And have it
Yeah,
be something great. Yeah, so that's manifestors. And manifestors also need a lot of rest, although their cycles of rest look a little bit different than projectors. Projectors do well with about like 3 hours of output work a day, right? And that doesn't mean you can't like not work for 8 hours a day, right? But
right,
maybe 5 of those hours are spent researching something you really love, for example.
right,
But manifestors will get these urges to work and they might be able to go like Energizer bunnies for 2 weeks and then they might need 2 weeks off.
right, right. Yeah,
So
got it.
it's a little bit different. And then reflectors are less than 1% of the population. And this type in human design, they have all what's called open centers. So they're total empaths.
Mm,
So they don't have a defined sacral, they have no motor to the throat, and their purpose is really to be a reflection of how our society is doing. Is our society healthy or unhealthy? So if you run across an unhealthy reflector, then they're likely in an environment that isn't supportive to them
mm,
or to everybody else around them. So you can think, I did a reading for a reflector once who had a 25-year corporate career, and she had a lot of issues, but she
yeah.
described the environment that she worked in and it was very, very toxic.
I think that's so many of us, you know what I mean? Are
Yeah,
in, yeah, for sure. And especially if your energy can't or isn't meant to be in that type of situation, that can be detrimental to their health for sure. Yeah.
totally. Yeah. On the other side though, I did a reading for a reflector who, lived on the beach and had her own business and had a great boyfriend and like she looked beautiful and healthy and vibrant. So,
Right.
it just because you're one type doesn't mean you're doomed. It just means you've got to learn how to work with your energy and
Yeah,
learn
I
what your
agree.
gifts are.
I agree with that, and I think for health in general, from any age or any disease, I say diabetes a lot just because that's what I do all day. It's what I enjoy doing, but it's true. I see so many people have a patient who comes in and we did everything. They were doing great. Then,
Mhm.
they live their life, right? They don't always like come back to see me all the time when they're doing well. So a few years later, they come back and they're not. And it's not because they didn't see me. It's because, maybe their job changed or they moved or marriage or something changed for sure. And I always wonder now that I know human design, I'm like, oh, I wonder if they were, this type of design because, it's when their surroundings change, all of a sudden the sugar change, even if it's not food,
Yeah.
right? It's more than just food. So cortisol, stress hormones, they are absolutely related to your joy and your happiness, and definitely your energy. So I do think it's super important that people really understand big picture, when we talk about human design, like to like bring it down to like a, very, very low level, understanding what you're meant to do in this world with your energy. And
Hmm.
once you have that, and then, let everything fall into place, life becomes a lot easier. And then obstacles like health don't feel so challenging, right? It's
Totally.
sort of right, because if you're already feeling challenged and you're not happy with like your current life, how are you going to work on things like your diabetes? You're just not going to be able to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's no
absolutely.
way. So you really need the pieces, and maybe you can even prevent it. I think that's super important for people. Like
Mhm.
we have so many, like myself, like I wish I had known about this when I was younger. I don't think I would have had any of the health problems I did if I had known, who I really was. I was always like, outwardly an extrovert, but it didn't really mean I knew who I was myself, like when you really know yourself. That
Yeah.
takes definitely understanding things like human design because once you understand that you don't struggle with yourself, you don't give yourself so much resistance, you give yourself a lot more grace, and then you don't think twice. And that the ability not to do that is essential, I think, for anyone's health, right?
Oh, totally, totally. And I think we're taught too that so much of our energy is wrong, right? Because maybe it's not like our parents or it's not, like the traditional school system, for
Oh yeah,
example. Like I
definitely.
think of my son and us. So for example, we have this energy in our charts that's called the gate of the fighter. It's this energy for stubbornness, right? And so if you have it, you have it. You're stubborn in one form or another, right? And so learning how to work with that energy, right? Stubbornness when you're taking it out on like your family or you're picking fights, that's not the right way to work with that energy. The right
Right.
way to work with the gate of the fighter is to fight for a cause you believe in. Like if you believe that the traditional medical system is failing like our population, then what are you going to do about it, right?
Yep.
And for you creating this program to help people with their diabetes and reversing it in a really holistic way is genius, and it's what you're here to do. I am positive looking at your chart that
Yeah.
that's what you're here to do. Can I talk about your chart a little bit just for
Yeah. I
so
love
people
that.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So what makes Yasmine really interesting and special, or Dr. Yaz? I know her as Yasmine. Is special is she has this channel called the Channel of Inspiration, and it's all about creativity and in creating things that have never been in existence before in the world. So bringing this program that's new, that's revolutionary, that is so in alignment with your energy. You're here to create and to make it an expression of who you are too. It's a culmination of everything you've learned, everything you've integrated, so you can help other people. And I alluded to this before, but we both have this channel too, called the Channel of Mutation, which is helping people transcend their limitations. Just by being in your presence, people feel like they can succeed, that they can move past their barriers. So
It's true though. It's like I didn't even
yeah.
know this stuff, and then once we're doing it, then it was the perfect time to do my design reading right before, a couple months before launching the program. And then I'm seeing these results, and it just fits. It makes sense, and it's awesome seeing it with my clients for sure. And it was definitely helpful helping me even coach. Understanding that when you have more confidence to like share your knowledge and the way you present yourself, and knowing it's going to help, it really helps them do it quicker too, so the results have been amazing with, yeah, our group that, I've been working with, and, I agree with
Awesome.
that. I agree with that completely. It does help. Really helps to know who you are in your design for sure.
Yeah, it gives you more confidence. It helps you streamline, like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I'm not supposed to be, for example, you saying doing all the things, right? Like, doing
Yeah.
all the, like, you're here to outsource too, because
Oh, yeah.
you don't have
For
the
me, for
energy for doing all
sure.
the, yeah, to do all the business stuff on your own. That would be ludicrous.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. It took me so long to
Yeah.
realize, wait, it's okay to own a business and not love like money, like, not love talking about money or these kind of things. But I don't have to, I love
Yeah.
diabetes. I love weight loss. I love health. And this is the stuff I want to do. I want to be like in it one to one or
Mhm.
in a group setting with people, like minded people trying to improve their health. That's it. That's what makes me happy. That's what I want to do. I devote most of my time in my work too. And I realized too, it's okay even with my kids. I used to think I had to be like a mom where, you see people doing like, I don't know, arts, crafts, Montessori, this or that, right? And like, no, I can put them in a school where they do these things. And when
Literally.
I'm with them, we can cook and talk about health. And now my son loves like talking about food. And you know what? That's great. Like, I can be who I
Yeah.
really want to be in front of them. I don't have to be inauthentic to be a good mom. I can be completely who I am, and they can be completely who they are. And it's really nice. I really do feel like my relationship with my kids, like we get each other. And I think it's because I get me now. and once I did
Yes.
that right, so it was really I always used to hear this, like, you have to before you try to, like, leave something or change something, always, like, make sure you're good, like, you're happy, you're doing well, and often I find that fixes the problem to begin with,
Totally.
and especially with health, for sure, health, business, family, it doesn't really matter. Once you're good, the rest really falls in place, and if it doesn't, you're not gonna worry because 'cause you're good,
Yeah.
so
Fill your own cup first, right?
yeah, definitely, and so if I wanna, like, take a bath or, like, do what I'm gonna do it. I'm not and my kids, they're happy, they love it, they really enjoy me being me, they know and it's interesting, I think, especially, like, as a generator, sometimes people because we can do stuff really well, sometimes people do ask maybe for things or more things, and it's hard for us to say no with a lot of things, and now I'm getting very good at being like, "No," and to the point that, like, my kids know to ask my husband for certain things and me for certain things because they know we enjoy doing those, like, if
Yeah.
it's, fire pit and I don't know, Olympic torches. I don't know. This is my husband's parenting style. They will do their outdoor things, and I don't pay attention now. I don't know.
Right.
There, the Olympics. There was a lot of there was fire. There was fire. Boy stuff, and I let them do their thing. And now, if it's like Legos, cooking, things like this, my son comes to me, and I kind of love that. He doesn't. It's not something that we all have to be doing the activity together. And I think before we used to try to force
Mhm.
doing like everything the four of us together, and it wasn't fun, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't wanna go to Chuck E. Cheese and
Right.
listen to the noise. It's not me.
That's not real relationship building. That's like
Yeah.
the term that I know is called pseudo community, right? On the
Yep.
outside you look like a happy family, but on the inside nobody's really feeling good.
Yeah.
And energy is energy. People can sense that. Our kids, they can sense when we're being inauthentic
Yep.
too.
100%. They know it
Yeah.
like this. Yep.
Yes. And so they might not have the language to express that. So what they'll do is they'll often change themselves and become less authentic to make you happy,
Oh,
right?
100%.
So if when you're modeling authenticity, that is so empowering to your children and to people around you because it gives them permission to be authentic in turn.
100%, 100%, and I think it's when their kids are young, they do that, and then sometimes when they even get a little bit older, like, even my son who's 5, like, one time, I forgot what we were doing. I think but he definitely lied about something. He said something along the lines of, I think I was saying, "How was something?" And he said something like that it was good, but I knew it wasn't good. Like, he wasn't really feeling it, And
Mhm.
so I'm like, "You can just tell me it's not good. It's okay to just not be good, It's okay to just
Yeah.
kinda feel crappy," And
Yeah.
so, and,
Yeah.
and then now he's like very honest, like, that allowance, but they have to see you do it too, because
Right.
if you're not having a good day and you can't be, honest with them, how do we expect them to do that and, be happy being unhappy, right? We can be
Yeah.
unhappy sometimes. So,
Let's
um
increase tolerance for discomfort.
yes, yes. I'm like a firm believer in that 50-50. Like, most people, even no matter what your circumstance, you're gonna be unhappy 50% of the time ish, happy 50% of the time ish. And if we know that, we know we're gonna be happy soon enough. It's it's okay to feel uncomfortable a little bit. And it's okay to be like not super everything's wonderful all the time.
So in human design, we talk about the emotional center. So not everybody's emotional center operates the same, right? But we all have highs and lows that
Oh
happen.
yeah.
That's a natural part of life. And as soon as we accept that, like life gets so much easier. But we're in a society that's like, squash the negative emotions. Those negative emotions aren't okay. It's not okay for you to be angry, depressed,
Yeah.
etc. Like, but that's our reality is we're designed to feel those emotions. They're information. And
Oh
when
yeah.
you know how to work, and that doesn't mean that you can't like make your neutral better, right?
Oh yeah.
Like you
Definitely.
can your neutral, your baseline can feel better than it is now.
Yes.
That's okay. But we all have the sadness, the anger.
And I'm so thankful for those emotions now. Now that I understand my design, like frustration, that's like
Yeah.
to me that's progress. Every time I feel frustrated, I'm like, "Oh, my it's telling me something." That's like that
Yeah.
emotion for me means time to move. Like I could see that as like a zoom, like I'm zooming through. Okay, frustration, good. I know what I'm doing next. Great.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
want to I want to say one more thing about frustration too. This is a little more nuanced, but we mentioned it's the feeling you get as a generator when you're out of alignment, right? And
Yep.
or when you're operating in the future. It can also happen one more time. It can happen when you are like doing something you love for a long time and you're about to ascend to the next level of mastery, but you've been doing it for so long. You're like, why have I not reached this peak yet? So, for example, Yasmin and I were both tennis players, right? We're working on our serve, right? We love tennis,
Yes.
but like trying to master the serve, it takes time. And sometimes it can get frustrating. You're like, why haven't I mastered this yet? And when you've reached that point of frustration that is almost intolerable, that's usually when you achieve that next level of mastery.
It's so true. Each
Yeah.
time, each new challenge, it's like gut-wrenching. I can feel it in my chest, that kind of feeling? And you're just like,
Hmm.
"Ugh," but then once you hit it, it's so satisfying. Once you go to that next
Yes.
level, then you get excited about the next challenge, and I talk about that with health all the time, with diabetes. When people first come to me, there's always a lot of questions, especially in our group coaching, "What did you mean by this with the carbs or this or that?" But then it's
Mm.
like then they get so good at it, they get to a point where they're, like, almost coaching me, and then we'll bring in the next part. Okay, now let's, like, learn how to nurture and stress. Like, we do a lot of stress management and emotional thought loops in our program because controlling your thoughts, absolutely dictate our emotions, our actions, and our results.
Mhm.
And so, right, so teaching them thought work to be able to change their own thoughts on something, to neutralize things if they can't make it positive, is a big thing we work on. And then we go to that part where it's outside of the carbs and an anti-inflammatory diet to that, and we feel the frustration again in the group coaching. And you could tell everyone's like, ah, and then when they get it, okay, now let's go to the next thing. And that's the beauty of when you have a disease like diabetes or something like this, you keep up leveling your health. And it's an
Mhm.
addiction at some point where you just keep wanting it to get better and better and
Yeah,
better. You can't get out of it. It's like for people like, I just want to manage my diabetes and have to worry about it. I'm like, no, no, no. See, you're not there yet. Like, it's good you want to lower your sugar. That's wonderful. But really, when you're in it and you're doing diabetes well, you wanna be in it, and you wanna, like,
yeah,
up-level your health all the time because you become it's almost like an addiction, you become infatuated with it, in a fun way, and it's really beautiful watching people develop in all areas of their life when they fix their health. I think that
totally.
happens with
The
yeah,
beginning is so hard though. Like I remember when I started changing my health, right, and getting my blood sugar under control and things, I was like, what if all of this doesn't work? Like, what if it doesn't work? And
yeah,
it was terrifying, right? But there eventually comes a point where it does start to work and what you were talking about, like you become addicted to that good
yes,
feeling where you start getting better and better. And now it's like, why wouldn't I want to keep improving myself?
yes, and I think they become, I think it's hard for people not to get into health. I think it's so funny that we both wound up in careers where we help people with our health because when we were freshmen, that was not like what our goal was. We were not
No,
like all about it at all.
I thought you were going to be on Wall Street.
Me too. I thought I
Like,
was gonna and I'm shocked right now. I'm like, I don't like money. I really
right. I was supposed to be a film producer in LA and you were going to be on Wall
yes.
Street. That was the plan.
You're still an amazing writer, and let me tell you, I would not have passed my first philosophy paper without Alyssa Hawn editing the crap out of it.
You're
Thank God for
welcome.
you.
You're welcome.
It's like
No.
my friends, oh my gosh, I'm telling you, I just generated abundance. I was literally like, I don't know how to write. And now it's funny because I love writing now, but it definitely helps when you have someone like showing you the way and like then you feel like you can do it. That's it. And so I think that's definitely your gift for sure, and you
Mhm.
came at a right time because I was on a point where I was starting this. I was like, I have my practice, it's successful. Doing something online, do I really have the capacity for this? And definitely after our design session, I was like, wait, okay. And then I got my report. And I think I wanted to like talk about that a little bit too. Once you find out your design, you're not done. Okay. It's one part to
No.
understand the energies, okay, and understand you. And then there's nothing to do it. And like, right. And I think that's where being coached by someone in this is like kind of pivotal. Yeah. Tell
Right.
us some about that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'd be happy to because there's a lot of information online. So, like, if you want to know your type, great. You could probably pretty easily find information about that online. But the chart is way more complex than that. it
Yes.
talks it talks about all of your unique energies, and there's the planetary transits affect them, and having a reader like me is just a good way to bring it all together and bring it home, and also to tell you what are the themes that are showing up in your
Right.
life. So for example, for Yasmin, there's this theme of transcending limitations and helping people get out of their stuckness
Yeah.
and into the light. And interestingly, that's also my life theme. So which is like why I think we were so like attracted to each other as friends, and like,
Oh yeah.
we and ended up in the same field
Oh yeah. And
because
it was like
that's
instantaneous. Like when we
yeah,
met, like, freshman year of college, we're in the same kind of dorm, and it was just I mean, that was it. It was, like, awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely we definitely mirror each other for sure.
We mirror
Yeah.
each other. Yeah, so what's interesting about, I mean, this might be too technical, but my sun and earth gates and my conscious side are your unconscious sun and earth gates and vice
Yeah.
versa. So basically we're like looking at reflections of each other and our energies. It's really fascinating.
It is fascinating. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Um, it's really good, and I think for sure, like, when you're in it, I think knowing the people not that everyone, around me has to do it, but I do think in your family, it would definitely help anyone too, for sure. Like we talk about being healthy, and I can say, example, like I eat a certain way with my genes, right? But now I exercise in a certain way by my design. And I think for my kids, when you're setting them for activities, I was like, I have to have my son read like ASAP because I'm setting him up for karate and soccer or this or that. And he's like telling me what he wants to do, but I'm sure that's based on what other people are saying and
Yeah.
really right versus what he really wants to do. And I think my parents were of that like they had me trying everything and it was
Mhm.
draining. And I wanted to just do one thing very well, but I was constantly being pushed into things and not really like trying to feel it out for what I enjoyed. And I do think that brought me a lot of frustration for sure. So definitely with my kids, understanding them and how they're designed and their blueprint would make it much easier to parent them. Yeah.
Totally, totally. I have 2 kids as well, and a boy and a girl just like you. And, like, knowing their designs is so helpful because my son basically has, like, all the difficult things that a child
Mhm.
could have in their energy. Like, the channel of struggle, he's a projector, so he really craves that recognition. He, he absorbs and amplifies other people's sacral energy and then burns out, right? Like it's fascinating. So knowing my kid's design, I can parent him in a way that makes sense for him. And my daughter, who's a generator like you, Yasmin, like I can parent her differently than I parent my son.
Yep.
So it's super helpful knowing my partner's design. I know everybody's design in my life because it makes the world so much easier. I know where to outsource. So for example, my partner has a channel that's all about nurturing the family. So
Mm.
guess who's cooking dinner every night?
Yep.
It's him because he has consistent energy, more consistent energy to do that. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean I'll give him a break every once in a while, but
Right,
we
right.
know he's the better nurturer than I
Yes.
am.
That's really important too, because I think sometimes, like, especially if you do your design later, right? Like, so I'm married and we're definitely in a lot of ways not compatible, but we make things work. But it's very helpful to understand each other because
Hmm.
when you do, we outsource. I think we used to struggle in the kitchen a lot. And
Yeah.
now no way. We both like we used to fight about things like laundry. I mean, all
Hmm.
things now, I will pay every dime. It sounds ridiculous, but I will pay someone to do it because honestly, we fight about it. And it's silly when we could easily I would rather take on more work at a hospital, see 20 more patients because I love people and patients so much than do that load of laundry.
Yeah.
So what I realized is it's not excessive to pay someone for your laundry. If I feel more energy seeing more patients, it's not like that's time I would have had with my kids. Folding laundry is by myself. So if I
Yeah.
do consults and I see more patients, something that makes me feel so good, helping with diabetes when they're sickest, and have someone else doing laundry because my husband and I both don't want to do it, that's fine. We don't need
Yeah.
to be this family of four where we do all the home things the traditional way, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
And we are so conditioned, the wife cooks the dinner,
Oh
the
yeah.
husband mows the lawn. Like what if it doesn't have to be that way? What if we knew each other's energy and knew who was more
Like,
suited
my
to the
husband doesn't
task?
wanna do
Yeah.
stuff around the house. I
Yeah.
cannot force him to do that, and I don't
Right.
want to, but I used to. I
Yeah.
used to, like, think, like, "Hey, can you fix this around the house?" and get frustrated, and it's ridiculous, and I think for sure that causes health problems, for sure, 'cause
Yes.
when I look back on that, that was, like, definitely my residency days when I had definitely weighed the most I ever weighed, for sure, and I was definitely struggling with my sugar the most, and I do think the more you get to know yourself and you fix your own health and you understand what serves you, you get out of this construct of what things have to look like. And I think
Totally.
your diet, even for diabetes, people are like, oh, what's the perfect diet? I'm like, I can give you guidelines when the sugar's high, how to get it down, right? And I can tell you, definitely, we don't want inflammation in the body and certain things to like oppose the disease. But equally, certain foods don't always make sense. Certain foods will serve you, and I teach people a lot more how to understand their sugars when they see it, what's spiking them, and understanding how they feel. Because once you do, really can do a lot better. So really understanding your energy is very, very important.
Yes, and human design also has like a food component, which I don't know if we talked about with you, but
No, I don't
so
think we did.
I don't generally do that. It's called the primary health system. I don't do it in my readings, like my initial
Yeah.
readings, but I do it with all my health coaching clients, right? And it
Mm,
talks about the conditions in which we best absorb and digest food. And so for me, it's indirect light. So it's eating
yes.
by candlelight. It's eating in the dark, in the shadows, right?
Yeah.
It sounds weird, right? It sounds really weird. But for me, I totally resonated with that when I've always loved to eat by candlelight. I
It's
always
so
loved
true. We had the best dinners. We never had, like, epic breakfasts. When I, like, think about it, like, we would do when our
Yeah,
parents came to visit us, like, at college, but
yeah.
we enjoyed good dinners.
I love dinner.
Definitely.
I love
Yeah.
dinner. But I love ambiance. I love it. Right. I did another a reading for a woman who her environment was she likes to eat in low sound, so quiet environments. And she's Portuguese. She's from a family of loud people who like love to talk and play music while they eat. And she was like, that never worked for me. And I thought I was weird. And it was so validating to learn like I need to be in a peaceful, calm environment when I eat my food. So that's
Yes.
another thing that human design can shed light on as well.
I think that's great too, because again, especially with diabetes, like, I'll talk to my clients, I'll be like, when we're talking about meals and the proper way to do things, and they're trying to make it fit with their family, and I think we're in this contract that we all have to sit, eat the same time, eat the same way,
Mhm.
right, and right, to be a family unit, and I don't think that's true anymore. I really don't. I think if something is not like the right ambience for you or the right setting for you or the right food for you and your body, we shouldn't be forcing everyone to eat the same way,
Yeah.
and the same foods. And I think we put too much, I think with kids, especially, right? We're told like they have to be a certain way when they eat. And no, I don't think it's worth my energy. Absolutely not. So I don't push this stuff as much as I used to. I used to be really, thinking because that's how I was raised, like everything had to be a certain way, and definitely when we ate. So it's nice. It's nice understanding that freedom.
Yeah. Yeah,
And I
for
think that's
sure.
gonna end, like, we always talk about generational obesity and diabetes. I think it's a fantastic approach because people think they have to restrict, like, if they suffer. Like, for myself, I used to always fear my kids, right? Like, are they gonna be obese? Are they gonna be diabetic? Like, right? It's just a natural response to not have your kids feel the same pain you have ever felt. But I think if we understand, letting them be themselves, their authentic selves, their body is meant to heal itself, right? So
Totally.
it's like wondrous, our bodies. It's very divinely designed. And so, understand that may be a really good preventative tactic besides having, unprocessed and, kind of, I'm going to say unprocessed, but like, more nutrient dense foods around the house, these kind of things. But that's really it. I mean, give them the tools, obviously, to eat well if they want to eat well, but not to force it too much. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think that
yeah.
helps.
And let them rely on their intuition. So many people are disconnected from their intuition. And our body has so much wisdom, right? And
Oh,
so when you learn how your unique intuition works, and in human design, part of that is what's called strategy and authority. So when you know your type, look up your strategy and authority too, because it will tell you, your strategy for using your intuition
yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. That was in my reading. I like it was something along the lines of, like, if you're making a decision and it feels good, go for it. And if it kind of feels, wait for now. Like, you don't have
Yeah.
to like make a decision right then, and it doesn't mean like, and I like, for generations living in the present. One thing I didn't learn, like, I used to think, well, how do I plan a trip, right? Like, how can I
Right.
plan a, right, a vacation? But it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean don't plan trips 3 months in advance. It means when I feel present and ready to plan, like, I will do it in that
Correct.
moment, and those little things really, really increase happiness, and health becomes a little more effortless because you're not clouding your mind with things that just don't matter, don't serve you, don't help
Mhm.
you. And then it's a lot easier to think about what's for dinner and kind of what dressing I want to make in the moment and to enjoy my meal, So,
Yeah,
right, like eating salad's
totally.
more fun now because I'm not like rushing to make it, I'm not really it feels like I have all the time in the world actually a lot of times because of that, even though I'm very busy.
Oh,
Yeah.
good, good.
Yeah, I do. I do think it helped me a lot. And so thank you so much for that. And teaching me that. and I'm teaching everyone today on the vitality prescription about all the different types. We went through everything, right?
There's so much information to
There's
learn
so
about
much.
human design. But if you want really personalized, tailored information, get a reading.
You have to, and I think anyone who's been coached in life at all, even if you were not ever, a health coach or anything, you probably played soccer as a kid, or you probably had a really good teacher who just it made sense. So she did the homework, did the test, that everything made sense and matched whatever that was in your life. Maybe you had a really good midwife, helped you deliver your baby. But when you've ever been coached well, anything like this, you need to be coached to get the most out of
Hmm.
it. You'll never be able to do it on your own and not as quickly. And your life is too amazing to kind of cut it short and
Yeah.
spend years struggling with resistance for no reason. So definitely reach out to Alyssa. I'm going to link her stuff in the below on the episode. She's fantastic.
Yeah, things start to click into place with a good human design reading for
I
sure.
would have like saved myself so many hours if I just really understood where I was at, what I was meant to do. Because then when you're trying to put in behavioral changes, it makes a lot more sense where to put your energy.
Totally.
Yeah, and so I think human design is definitely something that for your vitality, for anything, for your health, especially for my diabetics who are struggling. I know a lot of people with diabetes struggle with depression because it's a disease. We have to focus so much on everything we do, how we sleep, how we eat, what we do, our activity. And I think if we were doing something that really served us and our energy, we'd have a lot more energy to do the things we do have to do sometimes in diabetes, but in a way that serves us. So definitely amazing. And I definitely think things people should implement immediately. If you haven't gotten your design read, do it. It's definitely going to change your life for sure. And it's an hour and a half of your time. I mean, I'm sure you wasted an hour and a half watching something on the TV these days, right? So, I mean, it's definitely right. I mean, how much do we
you
do?
they're fun. Human design readings are fun because you're learning all about you and it's a celebration of who you are and your gifts.
I think it should be like the engagement gift. Like, you should absolutely
That's
buy this for couples.
I actually did a reading for like a bride and groom that are getting married next week.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right? So, Alyssa, thank you so much, not only for reading my design, but sharing this with everyone. And I know with your super busy schedule, I really, really appreciate it. And I think a lot of people are going to learn a lot from this. You're definitely a pioneer, and I'm so proud of you. So, thank you
Back
so much
at
for being
ya.
here.
I'm so proud of you too. Oh, I love it.
All
Oh,
right.
I love
Well,
you, Yasmine. Thank you.
virtual hugs and kisses.
Yes.
I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
And bye, everyone. So, my script for you: get in touch with your design, learn your blueprint, fix your energy, and the rest will fall into place. Talk to you soon.